What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Enriched Anime Podcast, the home of hot takes, anime debates, and opinions that probably you guys are going to argue with. I'm your main man, Ricardo. That's my main man, Kenny, and my boy, Kevin. What's up, y'all?
What's going on?
We ready. We
ready. We ready to whoop your ass.
Let's go.
All right.
Let's
So let's go straight to it. So just in case y'all don't know, this is really One Piece heavy, anime and manga related. So if you did not read or are not up to date with the One Piece manga, I please ask you to kindly leave and check out our other episodes. Like, comment, subscribe, and check those out, right? So I give y'all 5 seconds to kindly and peacefully check out those videos. 5,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
4. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Damn, bro, let me just do the countdown. You got ready for that? Okay, countdown.
Fuck that countdown.
But like, respectfully, fuck the countdown, y'all. All right. So anyway, as we speak, so the current season and that's about to come up, and the current thing that's going on in One Piece is Elbaf. Right? And as of right now, the Holy Knights are wreaking havoc all over Elbaf. And quite recently, Loki just upgraded off his shackles and became the heavenly demon, as far as I'm concerned, the red-eyes black dragon from fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! In One Piece. Right? And which I cannot simply wait till that shit gets animated. That shit is going to be chef's kiss. Right? But anyway, as everything is going down so far in Elbaf, and the kids were on the brink of death, and also their parents were willing to die for their kids because of the Holy Knights. Fellas, do y'all believe, based on the current circumstances going on in Elbaf, that Elbaf needs a shocking death to raise the stakes for the upcoming war coming up in One Piece? Kevin, I'll start with you, my guy.
Honestly, I don't think they necessarily need a shocking death, but I think it would definitely like play towards the level of grandeur, I guess, that Elbaf is like showing us.
Okay. Which death would you, if you had to pick from, who do you think should die in Elbaf, in your opinion?
So while I think it would be very sad, I think it would pull the story well together for Gabon to die. Simply because of, I think, while I would be very, like, I wouldn't want it myself personally, but I think it would be very symbolic, and it would tie the story like really well together, that as time is going on, the people, as strong as they were from the older generation, no longer, they don't have as much bearing on what goes on in the day-to-day as they used to back in their prime. I think him passing on, like protecting his wife and kid, or however they would do it, would be a perfect way, as like, or more like a homage to passing on the theme of the show, entrust the will, basically, from one generation to another. I think that would be nice, despite the fact that I wouldn't want that to happen because I love Gabon. But you know, I think it would be nice.
Got you. All right, so I don't think they need a shocking death, but I do think they need a death for 2 reasons. Actually, 1 reason, really. And the most important one is that right now, the Holy Knight stock is shit, okay? We are not scared of them. There is no fear whatsoever. And I think people have forgotten who the fuck they are. And what happens when people forget who the fuck you are? You remind them. So now I think they need to remind us of who the fuck they are. And the only way to do that would be by killing off a semi-main character. Gabon is a good one, but I don't feel like, I feel like Gabon still has a lot to pass on to the new generation, to the next generation. Same as Rayleigh did. I think his role is to impart wisdom upon this next generation. And that does not end with this arc. I think his utility is still pretty high, even after Elbaf. So I would take away Ripley, to be quite honest with you. And for those of you who don't know who Ripley is, Ripley is Scopper Gabon's wife. She's basically on death's door right now, and I feel like it'd be easier to just kill her off, because she's really insignificant to the story. I mean, not to the point of where, at least to the point of where, if she dies, we're not gonna miss her. Okay, no disrespect to Ripley, but she's just not she's a main character. And I feel like that's a safe way to go without impacting the arc too much, because when you start to take away Gabon, right, I honestly don't see how they can win without Gabon. Okay, I don't, because his wisdom, his knowledge will play a huge part in beating these guys and getting them the hell out of Elbaf. So I think Ripley should be the one to go. She's already at death's door. She's already been pierced, I think, throughout her body because she's trying to, save Colin from going over the cliff. I think it's her turn. I think she should die, basically sacrificing herself for herself.
Okay, I respect that point. Me personally, I don't think she's gonna die because I believe because Chopper is not back with them, I think they're gonna save them all of the parents that got hurt. So that's my personal opinion.
Oh yeah, I think they all wait, hold up. I think in the last chapter they all went over the cliff.
Yeah.
Right? And then
all of them.
Loki was able to catch him and save
catch him. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Right, yeah. So that's why I believe I don't think she's gonna die. Who I do believe is gonna die personally, I don't know if people might view this as shocking, but I do feel like it'll be out of nowhere to some degree, and I think it'll be Saul. I think it'll be Saul. The reason why I say Saul is because, one, the way it will look like is that, like, they didn't finish the job in O'Hara. Remember, he's the last, outside of Robin, he's the last remaining remnant of O'Hara. And the amount of knowledge that he knows is kind of massive, right? So he'll be like a big-time threat on par with Robin of what he could use based on his knowledge against the world government. Another thing is that, like, it'll be a moral blow to the Straw Hats because of Robin, right? Because of Robin. So because, like, remember, before she got the news that Saul was alive from Egghead, despite, yes, Robin found her place with the Straw Hats, she needed closure to see if she knew someone outside of her from O'Hara that was alive. And since she found out that Saul was finally alive due to come from the news from Egghead, she finally got some closure that someone is alive. And since the Holy Knights invaded Elbaf and they jumped him, and he's if you thought someone was on the brink of death, it's actually Saul. And we actually left that out because remember, he got jumped because of the Holy Knights and everything. So I believe like Saul dying would be the death that would possibly raise the stakes for the Straw Hats in order to beat them, for the war coming up.
It's funny you should mention Saul because, and you said something very important that we actually forgot about that. You want to know the reason why I forgot about that? We don't care. we don't care. We don't care about Saul, okay?
I don't know about that, man.
Much respect to Saul, okay? Much respect to Saul, okay? But if he dies, okay, yeah, we'll feel bad for Robin, but we ain't crying over Saul, man. Please. Saul? Really? We talk about Saul?
Bro, so you see, the thing is, I feel you, but like, you see, that was a long time coming. Bro, we waited over 1,000 chapters for them to meet again,
die?
Bro. I mean,
really?
They didn't
Y'all waited.
They didn't
Hold on. Talk about.
First time.
Hold on. Talk about. Waited for. Really?
I won't say that I was waiting for Saul, but that's another thing I like about One Piece in the sense that
it's something you don't expect, bro.
Yeah, they make some of these side characters so nicely to the point where it's like sometimes you can find yourself more interested in what's going on with the side characters versus the main.
Yeah. Because you see, with Saul, because like you see, you brought up both of you guys made great points, by the way. You guys brought up two characters that we were either A, on the verge of death, or B, someone was badly hurt. I brought up somebody who's somebody who people don't expect at all, who wasn't even a thought to possibly die, which will have a moral blow. If Scopper died, or if Ripley died, Kenny, no one will have a moral blow, just like what you said. But if it was Saul,
hold up. Okay, so here's the thing.
If it's Saul, it's a moral blow to the Straw Hats because they finally. No, I think it is to Robin.
Okay, so here's the thing. And you know what? Much respect to Robin, man. Robin's best girl, by the way. Much respect to Robin. Okay, much respect to Robin. Okay.
She wifey,
all right,
bro.
If her life is not on the line, we don't care about who she gives a fuck about. Okay, that's number one.
What?
All right. Saul,
that's cold.
Saul, I know. Listen, Saul's probably catching strays right now. Maybe he probably doesn't deserve it, but we don't care about Saul. Listen, we don't care about Saul like that. Okay. Now, I'll say this: Ripley is important, and you know why Ripley is important? Because Colin cares, and if Colin cares, Scopper cares. And if Scopper cares, it's important to the Straw Hats because, right, Scopper is going to be very pivotal in the Straw Hats getting their next road poneglyph. Okay? We need this man. We need this man to be all right. We need this man.
Hold up.
Okay, we need this. Listen, if Saul dies, Saul's not important to the Straw Hats in any meaningful way. Except for Robin being heartbroken. Okay. Outside of that, they can still find the rope poneglyphs without Saul. Okay. They can still do all the stuff they want to do without Saul. But if Scopper dies, right? Or if someone close to Scopper dies, it's gonna have to take him being away, right, from the Straw Hats to deal with that tragedy, right? And then eventually, then bring the Straw Hats in. But it causes a lot of roadblocks for the Straw Hats if we take away someone from Scopper rather than Saul dying. Who cares about Saul, bro?
Well, here's where I disagree with you.
Okay.
I disagree with you in terms of, because you brought up Scopper Gabon because they need him to get the last poneglyph. If that were the case, I could have called Rayleigh from back in the training and he could tell me everything.
Wrong.
You see, the thing is, I'm not doing that because
Rayleigh has nothing to do with what Scopper knows. And you know this.
No. Hold up.
Rayleigh has nothing to do with. He doesn't know where the rope poneglyphs are. Rayleigh does not know where the rope poneglyphs. He knows what happened. He knows what happened in the Void Century, but he doesn't know where the rope poneglyphs are.
But why would I bring in someone from a Scopper Gabon? Yes, he knows where rope poneglyph and where he is, but I don't think they will use him as a way to get the rope poneglyph because Saul knows a lot of things. He's a very important piece in terms of what they know because information is power, right? And that was one of the main reasons why the world government and people like Robert don't know everything.
Yeah,
Robert don't know everything compared to Saul.
They got books in there.
Okay, I will say.
In terms of
they got books in there.
But Robin doesn't know everything compared to Saul in terms of information. Saul knows everything right now more than Robin.
That's debatable.
Let me chime in. Let me chime in. I agree with Kenny in the sense that it's debatable because the whole the significance of Saul outside of the moral connection he has with Robin, the whole point of Saul was to recreate a library so that O'Hara's information was not lost.
Thank you.
All of that information is now
where did Robin come
library.
From? Robin knows everything that happened in O'Hara. All the books he read. So what the fuck are we talking about?
If anything, and then on top of that, anything that might have been added after the point, they can just go read in the library once this danger is
Thank
gone.
you.
If it ain't burned down.
If it's not burned down.
But guess what? She read it. Hold up. She read it before it burned down. Ricardo.
Yeah,
she read it before it burned down.
Them in the library.
So what are you talking about?
Yeah, so honestly, if Saul died, I think Saul has fulfilled. I think Saul has fulfilled both. The only thing that we would really feel is the moral sorrow for Robin. But outside of that, in terms of information and whatnot, we don't really need anything else. And on top of that, if you could make the argument that in that sense, Robin technically knows more than Saul because of the fact that she's seen the poneglyph inside of Wano. A lot of people haven't seen the poneglyph inside of Wano.
Wano was closed
of the fact
off.
that for the longest time, Kaido was running the show over there. They could have seen it in between that point in time, but after we've seen Kaido's story, after the Rocks Pirates fell, bro immediately found himself in Wano. And the only person that went to Wano after this point was Kozuki Oden. And we saw how that ended. So realistically speaking, we can't really say as to who had access. No, we can say who had access to that poneglyph. And the only person in today's day and age that's seen it that matters in this context would be Robin. So in that sense, Robin has more information right now than Saul does.
Yep. What you got to say, Ricardo?
What I gotta say is that because Saul, yes, she knows great information outside, and I give you that. I can't disagree about that because that's valid, right? But the amount of knowledge that Saul has that he can actually help the Straw Hats and the rest, based off because plus the Giants' history of what they have in Elbaf, could definitely help the Straw Hats. I view Saul as a big time piece to help them out. Right,
if you love Saul, just say you love Saul, bro.
No, bro.
I
fuck with Saul.
All right, so just say that.
I
did, but we can't be like Saul is this and Saul is that. Saul has all of the information that made Saul important is now in the books in Elbaf's library. Anything he added is now in that library. All they had to do was read it, and if they want to go back, they can read it. Maybe they missed the book or two.
So Ricardo,
but outside of that, what bearing does he have?
Ricardo, unless you're telling me, thank you, Kevin. Ricardo, unless you're telling me that the library is going to burn down, right?
It is burning.
Will not.
Everything is burning.
Is the library burning?
By the time the Holy Knights leave, if that library is burned down, then we can
have
a
conversation, right?
Then we
but
can
you
talk
have no
about it.
proof that the library is burning now whatsoever. But if it's still there, then
if it's still there, we don't need him. We don't. Anything beyond that is moral connection at that point. Exactly. As a survivor of genocide.
Listen, you just want him there because if he's not there, Robin will be sad. Okay, and I get it. I understand it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yo, bro, I'm telling you this. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm telling you from a point of perspective that actually makes sense. Saul dying and Robin feeling sad is not the worst thing that could happen. It's not the worst death that could happen. That's just from me.
So, all right. So one last question before we move on. If Saul dying, do you believe it hits a moral blow with the Straw Hats?
No,
I think so.
No,
I think so.
It only hits because okay, the Straw Hats don't have a connection to Saul than Robin does. Robin has the strongest connection to Saul. None of them.
Okay, then yeah.
So from that perspective, Robin gets very, very upset. Obviously, she's sad, she's frustrated, but you cannot tell me that it affects the Straw Hats, all of the Straw Hats, the same way it affects Robin. It does not.
Yeah, because then you could use, if you wanted to make an argument against it, then I just say that you could use Vegapunk as an example. Luffy was only sad because he thought he failed to keep the promise that he had until Lilith told him that their definition of death is different from their definition of death, because all of them are still alive up here. So I'd say in that regard, I wouldn't say Saul is important to really Saul. Yeah, Saul wouldn't really be important to anyone outside of Robin.
Who else is going to cry and be sad? Luffy didn't keep a promise to Saul. Is he going to be sad he's gone? No.
And it's like, did they even have conversation with Saul?
No, I don't think
the only people that were in Saul's presence to have a conversation was Robin, Chopper, and I believe Usopp, because they were in the library together.
Oh yeah,
the rest of them went to the realm of dead, and they were looking for Loki.
Yeah.
So it's like Saul don't really got no bearing for real, if I'm being honest. So if they killed him, it's just like, damn. Oh, no.
Okay. Yo, Saul, I got your back, boy. These two motherfuckers, they don't care about you.
Listen, if you love Saul, then you love Saul. That's okay. We all love Saul.
I did.
But
no, you don't. No, you don't.
No, it's different to say. It's different. It's one thing to say that you love Saul and you
want
him around. It's another
Kenny
thing
don't give a fuck.
All right, well, Kenny's a different person. It's one thing to say that you don't care about Saul.
Yo, listen, man. Listen, man. That nigga Saul is useless.
Kenny's cool, and he's sleeping on his death. He's gonna be snoring.
Up until Elbaf, and we found out that he wrote all of his shit down. It's like, yo, we need to see Saul again. Saul has some valuable information. Not anymore. We got the library.
And we got Scopper.
That's it. And we got Scopper. Yeah. And Scopper got, and you know how much shit Scopper already knows.
Yeah.
On top of that, Saul is literally irrelevant.
Irrelevant to the story.
Yo. Robin, I got you.
Like you said, Kevin, he's just for moral purposes at this point.
Robin, my wife, I got you. My sister, I got you.
That's literally. You could have made a better argument for Jarul, because Jarul is an elder of Elbaf, and the people at Elbaf would have felt that.
Shit. Yep. Yeah. See, there we go.
Another one. I'm going to the next. You guys, leave me alone. Right? I wasn't thinking straight. I got my feelings, but leave me alone. It's okay to be in your feelings.
It's okay.
Man.
That's
all right.
It is.
Now, this is going to be interesting. So the next debate we're about to have is about power scaling, and it goes back to Egghead. So in Egghead, we saw the Gorosei being powered up by Emu. And then later on in Elbaf, we see the Holy Knights also being powered up by Emu, in which also we saw the Giants being taken over with Domi Reverse, similar to the Giants and what happened back then in the God Valley incident with Rox D. Zebek. Now, some fans, not all, but some fans believe that with these powers, there's a chance you might even be stronger than Yonko, or might surpass a Yonko. So do y'all believe, Kenny, I'm gonna start with you, man, that a Domi Reverse powered individual is more powerful than a Yonko?
So it depends on the Domi Reverse individual. If we're talking about like a Domi Reverse,
let's say Rocks.
Yeah, a Domi Reverse rock is stronger than a Yonko. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. No doubt about that. A Domi Reverse rocks, right? Kaido ain't touching. Kaido can't 1v1. Kaido cannot touch a Domi Reverse rocks. Okay?
What about Gunko?
Gunko, she's a very interesting, because the thing is this, it depends on the on the power they have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think a Domi Reverse Gunko would be a good matchup for someone like someone like Luffy. That'd be a good matchup for Luffy. You know, think with the Conqueror's Haki level that Luffy has right now, I don't think he could take her.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think he could take her 1v1. And that's why he needs Loki, right? Because here's the thing, and this is the thing that we have to be, honest with ourselves here. The reason why Loki pulled up with Luffy is because he knew that Luffy would need help. If Luffy didn't need any help against Gunko, Loki will still be sitting in his realm, chilling, okay? This ain't like Shanks, okay? If Shanks pulled up, if Shanks was here right now, he wouldn't need no help, okay? Loki will still be locked up, and Shanks will go to work that little nigga. So
okay, go ahead, man.
So I don't think that Luffy has a shot to beat Gunko definitively in V1. I think he needs Loki, right? I think he needs help to be able to, beat her in V1. If we're talking about anybody else, like Kaido, like if Kaido was Domi Reverse, right? Or actually, if Kaido was here and he was facing, Domi Reverse Gunko, I think Kaido goes over. I think if it was Big Mom or Shanks in that, right? I think Shanks would beat Domi Reverse Gunko. I just don't think Luffy has the Conqueror's Haki mastery to be able to beat Gunko 1v1 right now.
So before Kevin chimes in, you believe a Domi Reverse powered Gunko is more powerful than Luffy?
Right now, yes.
Right now. Okay.
Right now, yes. Because here's the thing, and this is a training arc too, and you can take this to the fucking bank. Scopper said it best. He told Luffy and Zoro verbatim, y'all don't have the skills to do this right now. Okay? The secret is in the Conqueror's Haki. Okay? And if you can get over that, you can hurt them. Right now, they don't got the tools to hurt them. Okay? They still need to put in work. They still need to put in their dues. Scopper Gabon would never have said that if he truly believed Luffy and Zoro were ready. Okay? He said that for a reason. There's a reason why he said that. And if there's some magical shit that happened between when he said it and now, right, to make you believe otherwise, then that's on you. But I haven't seen it yet. Okay? I haven't seen them put in work to be able to beat a Domi Reverse individual. I haven't seen that yet. We still need to see that, right? And we know Haki blooms when you fight the strongest motherfuckers. So maybe Luffy's Haki will bloom to the point of where he eventually beats her, right? But I don't see it yet. As presently constructed right now, at this very moment in the story, he don't got enough. Not yet.
Okay, Kevin, what you think, dog?
Okay, to address it bit by bit, because like no disrespect to Kenny, right? But I definitely think Kaido Mollywops Domi Reverse rocks, right? And I say this because
Wait. In their prime. In their prime.
That wasn't in their prime.
Yes, it was.
That wasn't in their prime. No,
yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Whitebeard and Roger.
That was over 20 years ago. That was in their 40s.
Later, in their prime. Yeah, in their prime.
They were in their 40s.
Remember, God Valley. Remember, no. They were like, hold on.
They were in their 40s. Garp.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. As far as like the timeline between God Valley and like their fight afterwards was years. I was about to say Blackbeard. Roger himself, when they seen Whitebeard on that island where they had that clash again after so long, he said it had been years since he had seen Whitebeard at this point. Because this is before Kozuki Oden joined the crew, all that.
Garp was 40.
Several number of,
Roger was 39. That's prime
again,
years, bro.
And years had yes, but remember, even at that point, it wasn't like 20 to 40 years had passed. This was like a handful of years after this event that they got stronger. And I'm gonna go into detail as to why it makes sense, right? Oda he's very one-track mind showed us what it means to be a Yonko and what it looks like when you reach that level. At this point in time, Rocks, Roger, Whitebeard, and Herald we can all agree that they were all in the same power bracket, right? Like it was more of a skill. It was there was definitely like you could put them like from 1 to 4, but they weren't like too far apart from each other. We can agree on that, right?
Okay.
Now at this point in time during God Valley, at what was Herald and Rox's strongest point in time, because we know they die shortly after this, were either of them sky splitters?
Harold and Rox?
Did we see them split the sky?
Yes, we did. When they clashed.
No, we did not. No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
No, they didn't.
Yes, we did.
If you go back,
in the manga,
if you go back and you read the chapter, they did not. If you go back and you read Rox and Harold's fight, their Haki clash spread far, because they went into detail and they said it spread 5 kilometers wide. You could feel it from 5 kilometers away.
Okay.
But they did not show the sky itself splitting.
So because we didn't see the sky splitting, right?
Right now, hold on.
But the Haki spread 5 kilometers
I'm gonna make it make sense.
apart.
I'm gonna make it make sense.
I'm
gonna make it make sense. Right. I'm gonna make it make sense. Right. In terms of how Oda displays it, because there's a very clear like display of Haki between sky splitters and people that are right there on the cusp of being able to split the sky. Because we've seen instances where two powerful Haki users, their forces collide, go very far in terms of distance. Perfect example, when Luffy and Doflamingo fought on Dressrosa. We seen at that peak of that fight when King Kong Gun versus 16 Holy Bullets, we seen from miles out on the ocean that the ocean was being affected by this clash, but the sky did not split. Why? Because they were not at the level in which they had the power to do so. And this is something that Oda continues to show us, because there are only, 3 or 4 instances in the entirety of the existence of the show we have sky splitters. We have Whitebeard and Shanks. We have Luffy and Kaido. We have Luffy by himself and Joy Boy by himself. Those are the only 4 instances that we have seen where characters at the peak or near peak of their powers have split the sky, because we have both instances of strong.
I'm not. We have. And I even googled it,
but you can't.
I even googled it.
But you can't say
1155 specifically around chapter 1155.
I did. Hey, listen. You go read the chapter. You got to read the chapter.
So wait, hold up. Did you see
read
the sky?
The source material?
Did you see the sky in that chapter? Did Oda draw the sky?
The sky was showing, but that's my point. When he wants to show you that characters can split the sky, he's going to show you characters can split the sky. He's not gonna not show it if
bullshit.
That's not the case. But that's my point.
We've seen this shit. We've seen this shit over and over again. When niggas were supposed to be using Conqueror's Haki, right? When niggas were supposed to be using Conqueror's Haki in the manga, but they use it in the anime. Come on, bro. Stop.
But that's the end. No, but that's animation studio. You can't say that. The animation studio.
Oh, so now it's animation studios.
No, hold on. You can't say the animation studio doesn't have power over the source material, because we've seen, if you go back and read the manga, there are a bunch of stuff that happened in Egghead that was supposed to happen for Sanji, didn't happen for Sanji, and it happened for Zoro. The animation studio got power. So let's get that about the way. But what I'm saying is that when Oda's ready to show you that a character or set characters can split the sky, they will split the sky. That's why he illuminated or emphasized when he emphasized whether or not you want to buy it, it's fine. The facts is there. You can go read it if you don't want to.
It's not facts.
Back to my main point. Back to my main point. But go show
Harold not sky splitter. Harold is not sky.
Rox
is not a sky splitter.
No, they're not. Not at that point. Not at that point.
Yeah.
They were on the cusp. I will say that they were on the cusp of being able to do so.
Kevin, let me ask you a question.
They were on the cusp of being able to do so.
Let me ask you a question, man.
It says here,
I feel like
the burst of Conqueror's Haki from their collision was indeed stated to have knocked out everyone within a 5 kilometer radius. The sky split, their clash resulted in the iconic sky split visual, a feat typically reserved for Yonko level fighters like Shanks versus Whitebeard or Roger versus Whitebeard.
Kevin, let me ask you a question, man. Let me ask you a question, bro.
The Yonkos were not split in the sky. Okay.
So I was gonna bring that up. So I have to disagree with you, bro, in terms of Rox not being able to split the sky, bro.
Rox and Harold.
At the time, thank you, Rox and Harold. Let's be clear about something here. Could we all agree that we're talking about that time? Would you say Rox was above Yonko level threat?
Yeah.
Was an above Yonko level threat?
Yes.
So here's the thing. Yes. Here's how I know he's above Yonko level threat. He rolled up to Emu's place. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
He rolled up to Emu and he's like, "I'm coming for your ass."
Yeah.
I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
I think Yonko ever did that.
Standard. I think he set the standard for what a Yonko looks
like. So check it out. So check it out. The reason why I bring that up is because it's very important to say, because like I agree with Kenny in terms of how a Dorme. Kenny, correct me if I'm wrong, just in case if I get it wrong.
Yeah.
If a Domi Reverse individual is stronger than a Yonko, is that what you said, Kenny? I just want to clarify.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I agree. I just wanted to make sure about that. I agree with Kenny because I say this. Let's look back at the manga. Let's look back at the animation. Let's look at Egghead. Let's look at Elbaf. Strength in numbers, right? There's strength in numbers. If it was 1v1, you have a case. Okay, you have a case on that. But look at the scenario with in Elbaf, and look at the scenario of, to some degree, not entirely in Egghead. Everyone was in a Domi Reverse type of individual within the Holy Knights and the Gorosei.
We didn't have any Domi Reverse people.
No, I'm talking about a solely individual that was. I'm sorry. You're right. Elbaf. You're right. I'm talking about Gorosei. My bad. Elbaf. What happened to Rocks and what's actually happening to Elbaf in current time. Both Domi Reverse was mostly powered. People who was under the Domi Reverse powered, they were struggling. Look at what happened back then. We had Whitebeard, we had Kaido, we had Big Mom, we had Garp, we had Shanks. I'm sorry, Roger. We're talking about 5 guys, all in their prime, all Yonko level threats. And Rocks wiped the floor with them. That took Garp and Rocks to double team to beat
Roger.
this man Rocks. Thank you. I'm sorry, Roger. Thank you, Kenny. Roger. So the fact it goes to show you if one person can't do it, as a fully powered individual to beat one person on the Domi Reverse, what makes you think a Yonko could do it by themselves?
Okay.
Actually, that
say,
Kevin.
all right, I will concede. Okay, hold on, right? Just for like the sake of like rationale and whatnot, I will say that they were sky splitters, right? In terms of like the original point, in terms of, I think that as we had seen in my original, what I had said, I do think Kaido, like in today's day and age, like when we've seen him die, if we're talking Kaido at his full power, we're not talking about like there's no like lifting the island, no getting jumped, this, that, and the third. We're taking Kaido at full power versus Domi Reverse Rocks. Mm-hmm. I think in the sense that like since that fight had happened on God Valley and the characters progressively got stronger after this point, I think you could make a fair argument that Kaido could beat Domi Reverse Rocks.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
That's true, right? That's actually true.
I don't know how close that fight would be, but based on how they've written it to the like after God Valley, these characters progressively got stronger. Even if it wasn't like an immense amount stronger, they got significantly stronger post this fight. I think Kaido could have fought Rocks, and it could have gone either way.
I would have still give the edge to Rocks, but Kaido would have put up a better fight, no question. But I would have still give it to Rocks.
45-55.
Yes.
Right. Close. Very close.
Because I say just because of all the things that Kaido just had going for him. Like it just made a lot of sense. Not like Rocks was definitely like a beast in and of himself, and like the power, like his power output was through the roof. But I think through the fights that Kaido had, it gave him like a ridiculous amount of experience to the point where in which he was able to reach this point to stand foot like toe and toe with Rocks. Because as we've seen when Luffy had fought him and after he had hit him with that red rock, those people that he had put in that little like thing that he pictured together was like, these are the only people that can stand toe to toe with me or beat me. And Rocks was in there. I definitely think like full power, no holding back, Domi Reverse versus Kaido, I definitely think Kaido could win that. As far as like Gonko and Luffy now, I definitely think in terms of one-on-one, I think in terms of because there's layers to this. I think that Luffy beats Domi Reverse Gonko, but the problem there is that her being Domi Reverse gives her this immortality buff that he needs this more powerful version of advanced conquerors to be able to cut through. Because we've seen Gabon, even in Gabon's, he's past his prime and he's much weaker, he was still able to cut what's his name, but he wasn't able to like keep up that level of power to fight him because he wasn't as strong anymore. I think Luffy outpowers her, but he doesn't have the Haki to do so. At the moment, But I also think that he'll able to beat her one-on-one based on his exposure to this Haki through Gabon. Because we've seen it. We've seen Luffy's potential and like a battle IQ to be able to adapt to these situations with Kaido. And he only got hit by Kaido's empowered club once before he was like, "You're using advanced Conqueror's Haki." And Kaido's like, "What is that? What is you knowing not do anything?" Boom, pulls it out right then and there. As Kenny said, fighting strong opponents is when Haki blooms the most. So it's not like we haven't seen Luffy in these situations where him as an individual has been able to not pick up something as soon as he's been exposed to it, just because these are the situations that he needs to do this. Because if this isn't the time to do it, then when is? I definitely think through their fight with him, Zoro, and Gabon, I definitely think that introduction wasn't enough for him to like just pick it up, because he didn't really show it like that for real, because we didn't see it until the Holy Knights got there. He had just said, "Y'all don't have enough at this moment." Yeah. But I think once he's exposed to it himself, it won't take him long to pick it up, and then he'll be able to beat her. Because in terms of just power alone, Gear 5, he's stronger than her in Gear 5 in terms of just raw power alone. But the Conqueror's Haki gives him the utility that he needs to get through the immortality that Domi Reverse gives Gunko.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the head. I mean, he obviously needs more, and that's really my main point, is that he's gonna, like, Luffy's he's a visual learner, right? Like we have to acknowledge that he learns by seeing somebody do something and then trying to emulate that, right? We've seen it time and time again. So he doesn't have the, the wherewithal, at least the power. Well, I don't want to say power. He does have the power. I just don't think he has the knowledge to be able to pull off a victory right now.
Yeah, because then you could say the same thing about his power in Gear 5. He has an understanding of what Gear 5 is, but he doesn't really know what it is. And once he does, that's going to open up a brand new tier of power for him as a character.
Exactly. Hopefully, I mean, listen, hopefully,
okay,
they can
guys, that's what's up.
Deep into their bag and do something with it, But they're going to need Gabon.
Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do. And I think if I'm being honest, Zoro needs him way more than Luffy needs him. Because
I agree with that.
Not to say that Zoro isn't capable, but Luffy's just further ahead of Zoro to the point. He's been playing with Conqueror's Haki much longer than Zoro on a base level, and he's been doing it longer on an advanced level. So Zoro being brand new to just the idea of Conquerors in general, I think Zoro definitely needs to understand this on a deeper level to really to get a grasp of this level of Conqueror's Haki is a lot deeper. And I, honestly speaking, it's something that I've noticed with just One Piece in general. A lot of their answers to these problems is just more Haki. But I don't think it's necessary. I think in terms of being able to split the sky by yourself, like Joy Boy did and like how Luffy did, I think that is just having more Haki. But I think once you touch on once you've reached that advanced Conqueror Haki level, I think it's just knowing how to use it and not how much of it you need. Because then at that point, how much advanced Conquerors do you need to do something that you couldn't do before besides just tweaking the purpose of it?
Well, we know that in order for you to split the sky, your output needs to be at
your output needs to be
right?
that high. Yeah.
So if I'm fighting Kaido, right, and I'm Luffy, and I know that Kaido has this immense Conqueror's Haki, and he's gonna code it in his attack, I need to at least be able to match that, right? In order for it, to split the sky, right? So that's what we at least know. And I think you need. So I think the type of Haki that Luffy definitely needs is not like the same output he used against Kaido. It's a really much more precise one. It's kind of like just condensing it maybe into one focal point and then attacking that point. So your Haki needs to be precise. Not only does it have to be strong, right, but it has to be condensed in a way
needs focus.
Right.
He needs that Haki. He needs that Haki that the Joy Boy Giant had, bro.
Yeah, he needs that. I think once you reach that level of output, he's definitely going to be able to he'll need that to fight Emu at the very least. But I also think to build on what Kenny was saying, I don't think it's about the output here, because if it was about the output, then Gunko isn't an issue.
Yeah, okay, but obviously
it's more so It's more so about the intent behind it, because that's what Haki is. Haki is the exertion of will in just differently manifested ways. And the will behind your intent behind it matters a lot. So in terms of Conqueror's Haki, it's just you shooting out that will by itself without any real focus. But in terms of armament and observation, it's you focusing on a single point in which you're trying to emphasize on. So I think the same thing applies here. I think Luffy just needs to focus his Haki and put it behind the intention to be able to cut through their immortality or whatever it not cut through, but like be able to pierce through, I guess, because he uses his hands.
Yeah. So is it actually like the point that you brought up with Zoro needing Scopper Gabon more than Luffy? Because Zoro lacks the experience of Conqueror's Haki at what it truly is. Despite he had glimpses of actually using his Conqueror's Haki, we saw that in Wano, but he just didn't really know how to use it exactly. He had it accidentally. With him having Conqueror's Haki, it will help him beat the big three in terms of who he needs in order to become the greatest swordsman ever, in which it's the what's his name? It's the Gorosei, the guy with the bald head. I forgot his name.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I forgot his name, but you guys know who I'm talking about. But he needs to beat him. He needs to beat Garland, and then obviously later on, the last one he's gonna fight Mihawk. In that order.
Yeah.
Order.
Hey, Kevin, I got a question for you, because like Ricardo, I know where you stand on this one. We're gonna pivot
here. Okay.
Zoro or Law?
In terms of like who would win in a fight?
Who will win in a fight? 1v1 fight.
Me personally, I think I'm gonna take Law.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna take Law, right? Okay. And my answer is built on some important factors.
Okay.
I say it because in terms of Haki output, I don't necessarily think that. Let me not say for certain, but I don't know for sure if Law was to put Zoro in a room, or not even. Okay, I'm gonna put it like this, just as like it's not like a one-to-one thing, but just as like a example in that area. Law was able to move Zoro around in his room freely when he reluctantly chose to. He couldn't do that with Big Mom and Kaido.
Hold on. Tell me.
In Wano, when they were fighting, and
yeah. But reluctantly, Zoro was reluctant for Law to move him. Is that what you're saying?
No. Law was reluctant to move Zoro.
Okay, so
because he's like, I don't want to be used as a
right. Yeah, but Law moved Zoro because Zoro allowed him to move him.
Yeah. Okay, in that sense, yes.
Yeah, because think about it. If they were, so here's the thing, Kevin. For them to be fighting, right? We're both assuming that they're both using Haki, right? Zoro has Conqueror's Haki, Armament Haki, and Observation. Law has Observation and Armament, right? So in a fight, with both of them using all their Haki capabilities, with Law also using his Devil Fruit, right? In an all-out fight, who wins?
Okay, in that sense, I think it's difficult. Because me personally, I think Zoro is stronger than him.
Okay.
I think Zoro is stronger than him. But I think the issue in that fight lies with the level of utility that Law's Devil Fruit gives him. Simply because of the fact that even though Zoro has access to Conqueror's Haki, he doesn't know how to willfully access it. So
but it blooms when he's in danger, right?
Yeah, it blooms when he's in danger.
Right. And we know that he's going to be in danger against Law. So is it crazy? Is it a crazy take? Right. Is it a crazy take to say that with Zoro in trouble against Law, his Haki would bloom? Is it a crazy take?
No, it's not a crazy take.
Okay.
It's not a crazy take. But then I would ask this, right? Because for you to be able to register, for you to be able to like get to a point where your Haki is blooming, you have to register that you're in a severe level of danger, right?
Of course. I mean, Zoro has situational awareness, right?
Exactly, right? So when it comes to Law specifically, because this is he's the character we're talking about. When we see him fight characters on his level or weaker than him, we see that all it takes is literally a second for the fight to be done when he uses Room. Because from before, like if we go back to like Punk Hazard, for example, up until this point now, we see when he uses Room against someone like Smoker. Smoker's a vice admiral, but a vice admiral nonetheless. We see him be able to basically make light work of Smoker. Virgo was a little bit harder for him only because Virgo's Haki, it was a mental thing because he was afraid of Virgo, but once he really started trying, he had enough power with his foot to cut through Virgo's Haki.
Yeah.
They are much stronger. Both him and Zoro are much stronger now than they were then. I'm not 100% sure that if Law opened up a room, especially in his awakened state, opened up a room and decided to just separate Zoro's body, I'm not entirely sure if Zoro would be able to fight that off.
Zoro ain't moving. He ain't moving Zoro.
Zoro's
will. So here's the thing. Here's the issue with that, right? Unless you believe that Zoro's will is not strong enough, right, for Law to be able to move him, right? Then you got me there. I don't think Zoro bows down to anyone not named Luffy.
In terms of will, I don't think he does.
Right. So in that case, right, the issue that Law always has with people and with opponents, right, especially Conqueror's Haki opponents, is that he cannot move them, right, because their will is just too strong. Their Haki is just too dense, right?
That's why you couldn't beat Doflamingo.
That's why he couldn't beat Dofi. And unless you're telling me that Dofi is significantly stronger now, right, than Zoro is, which I don't believe to be the case, because I believe Zoro
would make light work of
Doflamingo right now, right? So that would then, and I'm not saying that Law didn't get stronger, right, since Dressrosa. I'm simply saying the advent of Zoro using Conqueror's Haki will bloom because he's going to be in trouble against Law. And once he gets into trouble against Law, that's when he shows his true color, right? That's when he really shows who he is. Law is not moving Ashura. I'm sorry. He's not moving Ashura. Okay? He's Zoro's bag, Zoro's strongest attacks. Law ain't moving him from side to side. It ain't happening. Okay?
You're absolutely right.
So the question now becomes, do we believe Zoro's coding attacks in Conqueror's Haki, which he can, right? Because he did it against King. Okay? King of Hell.
Yeah.
Do we now truly believe, right, that in a fight with King of Hell Zoro, where Law also has his awakened form, right? Do we believe that Law's awakened form is enough without Kid? Because we know what Kid did to Big Mom, right? Do we believe without Kid, and Law said this, his awakened form doesn't really hurt you when he sticks his sword into you? He said it verbatim. It doesn't really hurt, right? It's just something to hold you stationary, right? And the reason why his awakened form worked so well was because he had Kid, right? But without Kid, would his awakened form be enough to beat a Conqueror's Haki Zoro? My answer is no.
No,
I don't think. The moment
you introduce Conqueror's Haki into the equation, it's no longer an equation because It's very simple. You have conquerors on one side and non-conquerors on the other side, and if we're able to establish that Zoro's able to go into King of Hell mode on will, then yes, that's not a fight anymore. I definitely think it'll take a minute for him to pin Law down just because Law's room is so big, so he's literally all over the place, and Law's a tactician. I think it'll be a difficult fight simply because most of Zoro's enemies are just straight up, I'm coming at you, respond in kind, versus I'm using my brain to outwit you. I think it would be a little weird for him to get his footing at the moment, but the second he starts to put two and two together, it'll definitely go down in his favor.
Well, what I would say is this: struggles against guys who has Conqueror's Haki. That's why he needs a partner. He's not really a pirate. He's not really a pirate that could go straight up. For all you Law fans that's watching, sorry, it's the truth, and that's why he got his ass beat by Blackbeard convincingly, I might add. And Doflamingo. I still think that Law should have died in Dressrosa. I'm not debating about that. I think he should have died in Dressrosa. Don't at me. It's valid truth. It's okay. The man needs help. He needs a bib. He needs someone to hold his hand. So I'm like, yo, can you help me beat this guy for me? Can you do it with me? Nigga, please.
Listen.
That's
what I was. Yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
I think that's where Oda showing us, I think very much like the theme that they're still pushing forward, that even if you have this amazing devil fruit, if you don't have, once you start fighting conquerors, it's not a conversation anymore.
Correct.
If you had Conqueror's Haki now, and your Conqueror's Haki may not be up to snuff with their Conqueror's Haki, but because your devil fruit is that great, I think then we have a conversation as to who could possibly win. Because then the same thing could be said for Luffy and Kaido.
Yes.
If Law had Conqueror's Haki, this will not be a debate. Law would win.
Yeah.
Law would win.
If
he has
Law
too
had
much
Conqueror's
utility.
Haki,
Hell. Law would
probably be
Yonko,
one of the
bro.
strongest. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he'll be a Yonko.
His utility overall is way too powerful by just the devil fruit's means
devil fruit alone. Yep. And that's why he doesn't have Conquerors. I don't think that's why he has Conquerors. Yeah.
But we honestly I think they could give it to him just because he has the D, because I don't know if we've seen anyone without the D. Pause. I don't think we've seen anybody without the D, that hasn't had Conqueror's Haki.
True. But that's the reason why Oda didn't give him Conqueror's Haki, because if Oda gave Law Conqueror's Haki, you can make a legitimate argument he's the strongest in the entire game.
You could definitely make the argument. I'd probably say in terms of devil fruit power alone, I'd say his is only third in terms of how powerful they are. I'd say only behind Luffy's and Uta's. Outside of those two, I think Law has easily the strongest devil fruit.
Okay, cool. But we all could agree here. Law's a bitch ass nigga that needs help to fight Yonkos. Anyway, this makes the end of the Enriched Anime Podcast, man. So like, comment, subscribe with your boy Ricardo. That's my boy Kenny, and obviously Kevin. We'll definitely see y'all soon on the next one. Be safe, y'all.
Yes, sir.
Peace.